It is the most wonderful time of the year. Q4, Black Friday. I mean, this is where those 100K screenshots are going to be running rampant. A lot of gurus are going to come out of this. But if you are someone that has an e-commerce or dropshipping brand and you didn't properly prepare, you didn't have enough creatives to test, you weren't really able to scale, and you want to be prepared for the next Black Friday or the next quarter in Q1, then I want to share with you the 5 best performing ad creatives that we're using right now to scale e-commerce brands successfully. Now, my favorite ad framework for scaling e-commerce brands has always been the UGC problem solution ad, because let's face it, we don't buy products just to have products. They solve problems for us. So when we have a problem, we buy a product to solve it. Now, in order to do this framework, what I recommend doing is have a hook that's either your best claim, your best benefit, or it could be introducing the problem as the hook. An example could be, I've had trouble sleeping for years, and then you want to agitate that problem. So after your hook, you say, okay, because I've had trouble sleeping for years, that means I've had bad grades in school, or I couldn't focus at work, my productivity was at all-time lows. And after you set up why the problem is such a big deal, then people are going to say in their head, yeah, I've had that problem, or yeah, this is a bigger deal than I used to realize. I've dealt with this, but I've kind of just been ignoring it. And then you introduce your product as a solution in a natural way. So what a lot of people do is they'll introduce their product by saying, hey, I had these problems, which is why I found this brand on TikTok to try to solve it, or my friend noticed I had this problem, so they recommended me this product from TikTok. And then you describe how to use the product, how it works for you, the benefits of once you use the product, and then you have a call to action at the end. It's a very simple ad, but boy, is it effective if you use it the right way. And there's so many different ways you can do this with having different problems, different hooks, so many different ways. You can just use this one framework to make 20, 30, 40, 50 ads for your brand. So let's get into a few right here. I'm going to use Foreplay. I love using this for saving ads from the Facebook ad library, because the thing is about the Facebook ad library, those ads are the only active ones in a lot of cases. But with Foreplay, you can actually save ads that are active right now. And even if that advertiser decides to turn them off, let's say a few weeks or months later, you still always have that ad saved. So you can reference it, so you can use it for inspiration, which is really powerful. So let's look at some problem solution ads right now.
This is why I'll never pay for a massage again. Whether I'm at work, the gym, or doing chores around my house, being on my feet all day puts a huge strain on my...
Awesome. So let's get into it. We got a hook that really isn't a problem, which it doesn't need to be. It creates curiosity. It gets your attention because you're like, yeah, why won't you pay for a massage again? I'm curious. Like, imagine you're Deshaun Watson or any NFL team owner. I mean, that's really interesting to hear. But getting into the rest of it, so we're getting into, all right, problem. Being on my feet all day puts a huge strain. And then the next problem is I used to get massages, but they were too expensive and they were also very time consuming. So he has this problem, and the solution he's trying out is also having many problems as well, which is why he's deciding to use this product, which a friend recommended. It's a very natural way to introduce the product.
That's when a friend recommended the Smart Cup Massager from Serene Living Co. This fully reportable massager relieves all my pain without...
So in this instance, they're not really using a demo. They're more talking about the benefits instead of the demo, which again, that's something you can split test. So you know, a friend recommended this to me, and then immediately once I tried this out, it has all these amazing features that give me benefits. So multiple therapy settings, that's a feature, but it allows me to use it anywhere on my body, blah, 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 blah. Half the cost of a traditional massage. Great benefit right there. And then call to action, go try for yourself today. Very, very solid. So let's look at this ad right here. Does the celebrity brand live up to the hype? Well, in most cases, not really, but that's a good hook. So we'll see right here. How are we getting in this? Okay, problem. My hair was thinning. It got really bad. So we got problem and then agitate the problem. So because my hair was thinning, clumps were falling out in the shower. It was a mess, but then...
The shower. This is the Power Reset Bundle from Inala by Lala Anthony.
I will admit, the way they introduced the product, you can tell they're using modular because it didn't really fit. It didn't really flow super well because they just say, all right, here's this product, but they didn't really say why. So for instance, I had clumps falling out in the shower, which is exactly why I decided to start using the Inala Power Reset Bundle so that I can help prevent this problem. So basically that would have been a really easy way of introducing the product. And then, okay, and I swear it saved my hair, blah, 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 blah.
Boost your scalp's health and hair growth. I use the Reset Rinse once a week, and it's made my hair feel more hydrated, strong, and the shine is unreal. The Power Potion made the biggest difference. It nourishes and...
Great names, Power Potion. Very mystical. It's like we're playing Elden Ring here with the type of names going on here. But, you know, they're focusing on a lot of the benefits. It's very similar to the ad below where once they introduce the product, they're just getting straight into benefits. But it's also good definitely to play around with, all right, I got this product, started using it, this is how you use it, and then boom, I got benefits. But you can definitely play around with the problem solution format.
As I'm aging up, the symptoms of menopause are hitting me harder.
Okay, so problem. As I get older, menopause is hitting me harder, and then I decided to invest in this. So this one just mentions the problem and then gets into a solution. So again, you can play around with different frameworks. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, which you want to play around. So getting into the problem as the hook, then we're getting into, all right, I tried out the product, so introducing the product.
Valuable insight into what happened.
So after using the product, it's giving me an insight on what's happening inside my body. I can see what foods, affect my body. I can see my sleep and stress levels, blah, 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 blah. So again, getting into benefits, it's very similar. So hopefully this gives you some inspiration for whatever it is you're selling. Now, call me crazy, but a lot of you watching this might be wearing clothing right now and probably are wondering, how do I actually sell this clothing to the mortals out there? Well, here is how you do jewelry and clothing ads, because you can do it in a variety of different ways. I would say the real key to selling clothing is you have to make it look cool. You have to help people imagine what it's going to look like when they put it on, and that when they do put it on, they are going to look amazing. So there's so many different ways of doing that. I would say the generic way of selling clothing, as you can see on my screen right here, is doing the white background. This is what most people do. It works extremely well. Like, geez Louise, how the hell did I get there? I can see why they call this app foreplay, but golly. But let's look at the ad to the left of that, if you can focus real quick. So we got the white background. This is typically the best way of selling it. This is always a staple that you have to be testing when you're doing clothing ads. Then I also recommend having different backgrounds so that you can change up the color. You can also take pictures of it outside. So we can see right here this clothing item outside on some concrete. Then we got this gray background on the looks of it. And then also you can show people wearing it. So you want to split test when you're doing clothing. A lot of times photos are what's going to sell the best. So what are different ways you can do photos? You can do, like I said, the white background. You can do people wearing it as models, and then you can do people wearing it as more lifestyle shots. So I'd say these are definitely more lifestyle shots. And then when I go up, you can also do some cool graphics. So this brand, Kinetic Kings, really love this graphic design. It shows the inspiration of where they got their design from. And then similar here for Retro Rifle, they got this cool background to showcase their product and just make it look super cool. Now, another way to sell clothing is to do a carousel ad. That's very, very common when you are doing a collection that you're advertising, or to show an entire collection on one single picture ad. So as we can see right here, this shorts collection from Limitless Apparel, it looks really good. I mean, they just cropped it out, super simple, put it all in one photo. You can get a good read. And if any of these appeal to you, I'm clicking that link. So it's a good way of maximizing the shot of you getting that click and people checking out. Then they got this one right here. I would say this is probably too many shorts. It's really hard to focus. I would say in general, it's nice to have around 5 to 10 pieces max in one photo if you're going to do that style. Because when I look at this, it just feels a little bit too small and I can't really see all the details of it to really make that decision. Again, it's up to you. Again, execution is a huge, huge part of it. But when I look at this, like 3 clothing items right here, this looks really nice, really professional. And they're also doing it as a carousel. So again, they got all these other pieces right here. And this is how most clothing items are sold. If you're wondering how to scale your clothing brand on TikTok, I would highly recommend doing that through UGC reviews. So sending out your product to influencers, they can do an unboxing, or they can say, hey, today I'm going to be reviewing this fit, or get ready with me with clothing from your brand, etc. There's so many different ways you can introduce your product in a natural way. I like the unboxing and the review one the most. So if we go right here, this person is reviewing Saint Potential. He gets the clothing. He says how much he paid for. He says the shipping was fast. Talks about the benefits: soft, comfy, breathable. Overall, 10 out of 10 experience. I mean, that is really what we like to see. Now, my one issue with this ad, this guy doesn't actually show himself wearing the shorts, which is kind of the dumbest thing ever, because you have to demonstrate the product in use. You have to show the outfits you can make from it. Otherwise, I mean, literally for 2 seconds, he shows the shorts and you can't even see the full design. So I would say this ad, I don't know how it performed well, but it did. But there's a lot of ways you can improve that. Now, this is a pretty solid ad, I would say, for this clothing brand. It's a lifestyle shot. It's kind of hard to tell what they're selling until he really grabs the clothing, which emphasizes that, yes, this is a clothing ad, so you can check these out. I would have liked to seen some text, because if no one knows what Kinetic Kings are and you're just watching this ad, it can be a little bit confusing. So you could say, shop these shorts today. I'm kind of nitpicking, but again, that would just be one thing, just to make sure it's idiot proof for these ads, because you really do have to make sure. So I would have liked to seen that call to action, which, yes, okay, there we go. So active shorts, that way we can tell, all right, they're selling these shorts right here. They're really cool. It's a good lifestyle. You can see how you'd be wearing them. And then also here from Kinetic Kings, we got this guy looking in the mirror. He's looking good. And oof, that's a cool fit. I'm not gonna lie. Honestly, that makes me very interested in buying the shorts. So again, you gotta make it look cool on video, which is pretty easy to do just by showing different clothing combinations. And as we scroll down, I mean, geez Louise, I don't even know how that got there. Now, the other way you can sell clothing or jewelry is by focusing on more direct response principles, which might be saying that, hey, alternatives have this problem. Alternative jewelry stains your skin. It doesn't last very long. It's cheap. And then our jewelry is handmade, blah, 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 blah. Or when you're selling clothing with True Classic, what they personally do is they say, most other brands, they're very cheap, the materials suck, and they don't fit you properly. But our shirts, even though, I mean, let's look at the shirt right here. You can see it. It's a pretty normal shirt, but they're putting a problem behind it. They're not just selling a shirt by saying, hey, this looks good. No, they're selling a shirt by creating a problem, which frankly, any shirt could do. You could do that with your brand. There's no difference between what you do and what they are doing. So looking at this, we got the before and after. This one's way too big. This one looks really nice on you. And all right, front row seat to the gun show. They're already figuring out benefits, which honestly you can use for any clothing brand. So I would highly recommend studying True Classic if you are a clothing brand. They got so many unique ways of selling shirts, which to be honest is very hard to do because most people just sell shirts the same way because the most important thing is typically the design, but they're focusing less on selling the design and the look of it and more of the feel, which is an interesting way that is working for them. And then in this final ad, of course, we're handling the sex appeal. If you want to get the ladies, you need a True Classic shirt.
This company took a classic wardrobe staple and tailored it.
Like the transitions a lot. When you are doing video for clothing items, it is nice to do cool transitions where you're jumping up and then the shirt appears or it changes, something along those lines. In fact, I'll actually show you some recent work we did for a clothing brand we're working with. So as you can see right here, jump, transition. So that's how it looks. This is one of them that we're working on for our brand, Restore the Peace. And then kick flip changes into another cool clothing item, as you can see. Now we got to do a little more editing because this is more the raw footage, but yeah, that's a really cool way to do transitions in between different clips of showing the product. Now, if you are an e-commerce brand who's struggling to make ads at that level, I would highly recommend working with a creative agency like mine at Blue Ocean Digital, where we can actually evaluate your brand, come up with the benefits, the main problems as well, and storyboard just like this, all of the major lines and shots that we would need to sell your product effectively with UGC product shots. We have a whole team of creators that we send your product out to, and then once they film their raw content, we edit this into 15 to 30 ads that you can use to test today to help scale your brand to $1,000 a day or more. So if you're interested, here's a quick example of one of the ads we made for a recent drop shipping product.
Ladies, I cannot believe what happened when I started using this facial sauna.
I mean, we got good zoom ins. We can see the transitions are looking very nice. And this is just what works when you execute at a high level with UGC content. So you can see our benefits. I'll let you listen in a little bit more to our awesome content creator because she had some great energy, great lighting. So let's take a look.
Till I found this sauna. It's super easy. You just wash your face and then apply the steamer, waiting for the magic to happen.
It actually helps you completely renew your skin in just a few sessions. Plus, it increases elastin production. Apart from all these, it even flushes out toxins and impurities. Check this out today and save up to 40% off.
Awesome. So as you can see right there, we got the call to action, we got the demo, we got the great text that is native to TikTok. So again, if you want me to personally write ads for you and get these produced and created so that you can scale your e-commerce brand with TikTok or Facebook ads, because they can work on both platforms, then click the link down below in my description. Now, because everyone's really heavily focused on UGC, I would say the most underrated way of selling your product as an e-commerce brand is doing the us versus them graphic ad. And this is what a lot of big brands do to differentiate. As you can see right here by Ridge Wallet, they are constantly testing different ways of applying the us versus them with Ridge Wallet, Grandpa's Wallet, or Ridge Wallet versus your old wallet. So again, very, very similar. These are all similar, but it's just different ways of getting that point across to you that, hey, with this, all right, here's the differences. Ours can track lifetime warranty, all this great stuff right here. And then, all right, here's the size difference. Carry less, live more. And then right here, old wallet versus the Ridge Wallet. So this is actually more of a benefit call out ad. So you're seeing all the benefits, but then with the old wallet, okay, bulky, wears out, doesn't fit. I mean, this is really, really solid for the us versus them ad. Now, looking at Everyday Dose, they are competing with Mudwater. And I know for a fact you've seen Mudwater because that founder, I mean, I see these ads everywhere. They haunt my nightmares. Like, I had so many people telling me, what's in your mug, bro? And I'm like, it's mud. I mean, I got to give him a lot of credit. He was able to sell mushroom water to millions of people, which mushrooms? Absolutely disgusting. But as we can see right here, Everyday Dose is very similar. They also sell a mushroom coffee. So they're trying to compete with them. And all right, we can see 100% mushrooms, collagen, blah, 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 blah. Oh, Mudwater does not actually have these. All right, cool. So that's how we differentiate because the market in this space only really knows Mudwater. So the only way you can compete is by comparing yourself to the big boy brands. Now, not a lot of people call out a competitor directly. I would say what most people do in these is saying, all right, here's the alternatives of using our product, and they do it in a more generalized way. Like as you can see by Hims, they do, okay, here's all the benefits, and you don't get those same benefits with doing generic brand names. And in case you don't know, Hims is tough. help you down there. Obviously, I don't need that kind of help. I don't know why I even have these ads saved or look at a brand like this. I mean, hey, we're using foreplay. I mean, why is this such an intimate sexual episode of ad reviewing? I mean, I thought this would just be normal, but all right, let's get into the rest of it. So anxiety care, as it should be. I love this. Very simple. So it's the same format, again, just listing out the benefits. And this is something you can put on your own website. A lot of people do a graphic of why you should buy us versus another person. But if you're looking for another way of doing this, as you can see, him versus competitor. So this one, they just compare the price. So this would be more of a retargeting ad, I would have to say, because when you look at this, you're kind of like, yeah, I don't really know what these are. So again, you got to keep in mind what is the level of awareness the person has with your product. So if someone has understood HIMS, then yes, these are great for retargeting. But I would say it's also worth a shot versus cold traffic. But I would say if you really do want to test graphics to sell your e-commerce products for cold traffic, the best way of doing that is typically the feature call out ad. So as you can see right here, there are plenty of brands where they basically just take a photo of their product and then they add little bubbles, they add lines of all of the benefits you can get from using your product. It's very simple. So as you can see right here, you can get this in Canva. All right, we got just a generic photo of these lashes and soft curl, volume lash. I mean, you're going to look like an absolute baddie. And then in another ad, we're testing some different ones. All right, so we got some 3-minute dry time, no glue. I'll be honest, when I look at this, I don't really know, but I'm sure for ladies, when they look at this, they're like, oh my God, 3-minute dry time. Now I can finally make my boyfriend wait less time so that when he's sitting in his car, waiting to pick me up, honking at me saying, hey, we're going to be late to our reservations to Nobu, I'll only be 30 minutes late instead of an hour. So that's a big lifesaver for me. But scrolling down again, Vessi, this is a shoe brand. And again, how they sell it, cloud-like comfort, waterproof, easy on, not breathable, looks really, really solid. So you're just calling out what are the major benefits that people care about in your product, and then you're just putting them in these little arrows, lines. There's so many different ways of doing it. You can do it in little bubbles, which Avi does, put in these lines, but this is a really, really cool ad that can be made in honestly minutes. So before I introduce this next ad framework, I want you to be introduced to Thrive Cosmetics. And now they've had one of the most popular TikTok ads of all time. I believe it got over 100 million views, which is absolutely insane. And they utilize this one ad framework all the time when they sell their products. So as you can see right here, are those
this mascara from Thrive Cosmetics, and I will show you.
Pretty good. Now, can you notice based off that what type of ad this is? Very good. Before and after. So with before and after ads, as you can see right here, this shows immediately the effects of using the product. So before and then after, I mean, it looks really, really solid. Now, the ad that got them a ton of views, if I go down a little bit, they had one where the hook, yeah, right here, the cut in half screen of what it looks like before and after of using the product. Boom. That's all the explanation. I'm already sold first second of the ad. But if you're wondering how to do a before and after ad, it's not just the hook of showing before and after. You typically have to follow this framework right here, which would be introducing the product after doing the split screen. So, hey, this is the blank product. This is the eyelash extension by Thrive Cosmetics. It has these benefits, and then a testimonial followed by a call to action. So testimonials typically just using an I statement like, I can't believe how much this has changed my eyelashes. I am so confident every time I go out. And then obviously you know what a call to action is. That's your offer. So again, eye brightener, 2 shades for $8 off. Not too shabby. So let's break down this ad real quick and see if they follow that framework. Okay, introduce the product, Brilliant Eye Brightener. Okay, cool. Now we're demonstrating. Okay, so they're doing a demo, and then let's see if they mention any benefits. No, they don't really go with any benefits. So that's an interesting way of doing it as well. So introduce product, demo, then call to action. I would have liked to seen a benefit or two or a testimonial. I think that just would have made it convert a little bit better. But again, this is where you don't just stick to frameworks, you have to play around with different things. And then obviously True Classic, as we already mentioned, has the before and after ad. Pretty solid, nice little split screen right here. So you pretty much always are just gonna do a split screen when you do the before and after. And then as you can see right here, they're going with problem, introduce product, and then, all right, benefits. This is really good. So they follow definitely the framework a little bit more. So let's actually hear what they did here.
The dad bod. I almost gave up hope of ever looking sexy in a t-shirt, but I kept seeing these tees from True Classic all over TikTok. I saw a difference the second I tried them on. My arms look crazy ripped, and there's space to hide my gut.
Damn, space to hide your gut? Impossible. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of have that problem. Let me just show you real quick. I mean, geez Louise. Oh, sorry, I didn't want you to see my 12-pack. But that actually gives me an interesting idea. When you are doing the hook, you could also do a clothing-like transition. So it could have been the before is you putting on a shirt that looks way too big, and then the after is you jumping, and then boom, you got the True Classic on, and it fits absolutely perfectly. I mean, what can I say? And then this ad right here by Flow is also really good. So they do a green screen, so something that's native to TikTok, which which is great. And they showed the before of using the product, which is them with some acne. So the before, it's the undesired effect, and then they show the desired result that you want after using the product. So let's break this down.
This is what my skin used to look like until I found Flow. These strawberry gummies are so freaking good. I just take 2 of these a day, and they have vitamins that help balance my hormones and alleviates the root cause of my hormonal acne. But if you don't like sugar, you can always opt for the sugar-free capsules. I've been taking Flow for about 3 menstrual cycles, and look at my skin now.
Awesome. So let's break this down. Hook, which is the before and after, introduce the product. Flow, then we got a benefits. They taste really good. And then demo. So that's really interesting. Benefit, demo, then benefit, and then they have a testimonial with I've been taking this and look at my skin now, which is the after of the ad. So they get to the after a little bit later, but I believe this ad is also incredibly solid. And just because I love spoiling you, Habibi, because I am your sugar daddy, I'm gonna give you one more ad framework that you can use, which is the add to listicle. Now, this is pretty advanced stuff. This is where you have to do an ad that is congruent to a landing page. So what some people do is the one like Boom by Cindy Joseph, where the ad really kind of sucks. It literally is just a picture and then it's like 7 makeup tips, but this is more to get you to click onto the landing page, which is a listicle. Now, if you don't know what a listicle is, this is basically just a list of reasons why you need to try out their product, but it's disguised as an article. Like, this is just some tips for glasses wearers. We're not going to sell you on our product or anything like that. And then you get into it, counterbalance your frames. All right, so it's very natural. Hey, you know, this is what you want. And then boom, this product allows you to get that desired benefit. Hey, avoid heavy eyeliner. You can do that by buying our product. Hey, you can separate your lashes, but you have to buy our product. So this is just a really good way of having your ad and landing page incredibly congruent with the same benefits and the same ideas. Now, another way of doing this is with Blizzy, where they have a more traditional ad real quick. So they're showing off the product, showing how comfortable it is. They don't really have any text, but hey, enjoy up to 45% off. And then when we click on this, they actually go straight to a landing page on the 7 reasons why this is a great pillowcase. It's going to be your new best friend. So if you were incredibly unpopular in high school, then I guess that might be the case. So let's get into it. Break up with breakage. Sounds like a rap lyric, honestly. And then Blizzy pillowcases. Okay, there we go. Getting straight into the benefits. Hey, we're really just selling the product. And this one, they're not even going super listicle format, because usually with the listicle, you try to disguise it a little bit, but with this one, I mean, these are just all the benefits of using the product, which is a cool way of definitely split testing listicles. So maybe you want to try out more of just, all right, here's the benefits that we usually put on our product page. Let's try to format it into a list and see if that converts better. Then at the end, we got some social proof, which is great. And then the call to action. So typically from a listicle, what most people do is it goes to a call to action, which is the product page, the actual product page. So it might make sense for you to create a product page where you send traffic to, and then a listicle that then redirects to another product page to see which one converts better. So now that you know the best ad frameworks for selling your e-commerce product, if you are interested in working with me directly to help consult you in coming up with ad ideas to help scale your e-commerce or dropshipping brand, all you have to do is click the link down below, book a call with me, and we can see how we can help scale your brand on TikTok and Facebook. Now, if you are interested in learning the 7 lessons I learned after spending over $1 million in TikTok ads, I would highly recommend checking out that video next so you can see how you should do your media buying and creative testing when you got your ads all set up.